coming up.
Canadian, while it may be small, this is the event.
But it has ballooned into an amazing conference with people coming from a variety of states because of the quality of the program and the people they get to interact with.
The fastest growing beef education conference in America is coming up, and you're invited. Hear all about it on this episode of The American Rancher. Hello, I'm Pam Minnick, and welcome to The American Rancher. The eastern Texas Panhandle is known for stunning beauty and warm hospitality. And there, in the town of Canadian, Texas A&M Agrilife Extension agent Andy Holloway and his team will be hosting the 9th annual Hemphill County Beef Conference, the fastest growing event of its kind. Last year, the two-day event hosted world-class experts who showed over 600 attendees how to get the most out of their ranching operation. And this year, no matter the size of your cow herd, you're invited to learn from these experts.
I started out born and raised in the Texas Panhandle. I'm a fourth-generation Texan. I showed my first steer, which my granddad gave me out of his registered Angus herd, when I was 9 years old in Houston. My dad was a county extension agent. I dreamed of following in his and my uncle and my granddad's footsteps, and that was to go to Texas A&M, be on the livestock judging teams and meets teams, which I did all that. In 2003, my son was about 10 years old. We'd always dreamed of being in the registered Angus business on our own. Within about 4 years of that, we had gone from 7 head of registered Angus cows to 500 registered Angus cows. And that was in along about 2009. And then unfortunately, the historic drought of 10 and 11 and 12 took me out of the business. The 30 or 40-year dream that I'd had was lost, $1.5 million, all my cows. Everything that I had worked for and saved was lost because of the drought and a lot of bad decisions I made during that drought. And eventually, I got a little wind back in my sails, and I called down to Texas A&M to my friend Dr. Larry Bowman, who helped me get connected to get an extension job. And I've been an extension agent now in Hemphill County for Texas A&M Agrilife Extension for 10 years. One of the first things extension agents in Texas A&M Agrilife are taught to do is to have a local committee. And that ag committee today is a committee of about 15 people. They're ranchers, they're agribusiness producers, they're people in our community that have vision and foresight. And between their thoughts as a steering committee to give me critical issues, I go out then and find literally nationally and internationally known speakers, educators to address those issues. And that's how the Beef Conference started in 2015. We had 85 people there. They paid $100 a piece to be there. And all of a sudden we had a standing room only. I was told by some of my extension colleagues that nobody would come and pay $100 for an extension meeting because it had always been for free. Well, we had the right issues and the right speakers. Minnie Lou Bradley of Bradley 3 Ranch in Esteline, Texas, was our first keynote speaker. And it was a sellout. And that led to the 2016 conference that we moved out to an event center in Canadian, Texas called Jones Pavilion.
When Andy was saying at first, this one's going to be the best one ever, and some people kind of laughed that off, but then it was. The vendors, the quality of the speakers every year is so good. The food. If you're just coming to socialize. But socializing, you learn when you socialize. We learn from each other. Why didn't I think of that, And I'm having this little, what do you think of this, to your neighbor or whoever, maybe somebody new that you met, or what's it like in your part of the country?
You will see every aspect in the agriculture beef industry represented at this trade show. And you will be greeted by friendly, knowledgeable, well-equipped people who can assist you in every avenue of being a cattle grower.
You know, and that's real special though, because here we are out there in the middle of the prairie. Some people would say in the middle of nowhere. And all these people, last year we had people from 11 states and 52 Texas counties that attended. And these people come to hear world-class people. And it's all put on by a small little staff that are passionate and dedicated to make an event excellent. And that's why it's special, is because it's built around the spirit of excellence. It's a Field of Dreams story. You build it and they will come. And that's what's happened in Canadian through this beef cattle conference.
Oh, when we first started, you know, it was still a pretty good sized conference for just starting out, but it has ballooned into an amazing conference with people coming from a variety of states because of the quality of the program and the people they get to interact with.
After the break,
Canadian, while it may be small, this is the event. Everybody's came here for it.
see why the Hemphill County Beef Conference is the fastest growing event of its kind when the American Rancher continues. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Cody King with Capital Farm Credit. We're the title sponsor of this year's Hemphill County Beef Cattle Conference. Capital Farm Credit's a cooperative lender. All we do is agriculture, so when they say all beef, we're all beef. We do cattle operations, we do land deals, we do equipment, anything ag, we finance. So one of the reasons you ought to be here in Canadian, Texas is because it's an intimate atmosphere and an opportunity to learn from experts across the country like you'll see nowhere else.
Welcome back to the American Rancher. From its humble beginnings 9 years ago, the Hemphill County Beef Conference has expanded every year in ways that no one could have imagined. And the 2024 conference coming up will be one for the record books.
So the beef conference is so valuable because there's so many take-home messages. The speakers that bring some of the most important critical issues, that ranges from our cattle markets to estate planning to ranching for profit to genomics, even the weather. There's so many important speakers that bring forth critical things that ranchers need to know going forward. The Dean of Agriculture at West Texas A&M University, Dr. Kevin Pond, recently said to my Ag Committee, the beef conference in Canadian has an important role in the national leadership of the beef cattle industry. That's what's happened in Canadian. In fact, the Texas A&M Agrilife Extension Service just reported that in the last 2 years, our beef conference added over $61 million in value to the participants that have participated over the last 2 years to their business. That's based on anonymous surveys that the ranchers themselves have given Agrilife Extension.
What I like about the Hemphill County Beef Conference is that it's relevant to the beef industry, relevant to the issues at hand that we're facing, be it raising interest rates, being feed input prices, cattle prices, estate planning, all of those things that affect our daily lives, how to manage drought, how to plan and how to mitigate risk. So it's more than just information, it's finding solutions that I like best about the Hemphill County Beef Conference.
And what I like about this event is it's not academic, it's really tangible. I mean, I've sat through the program all day today, and every speaker gave me tangible strategies, things I can, very simply identify and take home and put to work in my operation.
We get to see a lot of friends and acquaintances and be able to talk and share experiences and those kinds of things. But we have some fantastic speakers that are very, very knowledgeable about numerous subjects that help us in every bit of our business.
Andy Holloway does a great job getting speakers that you'd want to listen to and learn something from, and then it's good to be united with fellow Hereford breeders, Lee Haygood and the Brainards. GKB has a big booth here. We bring booth every other year probably, and it's just good to meet cattle people and learn new ideas and see what's on the cutting edge technology.
We come here to the conference for two reasons. One, to look what the livestock industry is doing as far as the new technology that allows us to be more capable of taking care of our cattle, taking care of our land, and also to beat new breeders and to explain to what our program is to other people that's doing this.
The things that have been beneficial to me in the beef conference, I think about on a regular basis. Number one is marketing. It's been beneficial to me. Next to that, grass and grass grazing, some practices that I can see in my own operation that I've already adopted that's been useful to me. Cattle nutrition.
Well, putting the conference together for me is basically a year-long affair. My Hemphill County Ag Extension Committee gives me ideas, critical issues, things that they're addressing locally on their ranches, plus then bigger, larger issues that are going on in the whole beef cattle industry. And so I go out and I start seeking speakers that can speak to these critical issues. I go literally around the nation listening to potential speakers to figure out which ones of them are best for our conference and the needs that we have. The sponsorships that come out of this from the trade show vendors is something I work at year round. So we've gone from 16 trade show sponsors to now well over 100. And so one of the things that I think people like to do is they like to just have fun. This year, our focus breed of the year is the Akaushi breed. And so Tuesday night, April 23rd, we're gonna have Akaushi prime rib for our dinner. So we enjoy eating, we enjoy fellowshipping, and then the networking that goes on, which is one of the big take-homes. These ranchers get to talk to all of our trade show vendors. There's exchange and business that gets done between those people. And I tell you, the conference every year brings a lot of value to those ranchers. This little old conference out in the middle of the prairie has become a phenomenon.
You know, you're not dealing with, tracking down to Dallas or Houston or somewhere where these other shows are at that are, in our industry. Most people may not want to go and traverse the crazy traffic of these metroplex areas. I think that's a part of it. But I also think that it gives them a good excuse to come and network. In Canadian, while it may be small, this is the event. Everybody's came here for it. They're committed to it. We've got the speaker lineups are incredible.
So the Beef Cattle Conference in Canadian, sponsored by Texas A&M Agrilife Extension Service, is for everyone. In fact, one of the phenomenons that's been happening for a decade or longer in the beef cattle industry is how many young women are now involved in leadership roles, even ownership of the land. And so we have a lot of young ag professionals that are ladies that come to the beef conference.
I think it's important for the young women that are studying agriculture, the women that are married to a spouse that is in the agriculture industry. I think the message for these people is going to be that you can do it.
We also encourage the ranchers to bring their spouses. Sometimes that's the rancher lady that brings her husband, the spouse. But oftentimes it's the man that brings his wife too. But one of the things that I've found is the ladies absolutely love our conference. And let me tell you why they love it. They go home and they make their husbands tend to business more so from what they learned at the beef conference, like estate planning. Do you know that it's so interesting that people get up in their 60s and 70s and never have a will? And estate planning for farmers and ranchers is like no other kind of estate planning. I had a 72-year-old man a few years ago at the beef conference that heard an estate planning conversation that we had there by Dr. Shannon Farrell from OSU, who's, by the way, going to speak this year at the beef conference. And he came up to me, this gentleman came up to me. He has oil and gas production, he has beef cattle production, he has all kinds of other ag enterprises. He said, I've done no estate planning. After hearing Dr. Farrell, I'm going next week to hire an attorney so I can get my estate plan. That's the kind of impacts that we hear often
from people that come to the beef conference.
Up next.
So the keynote speakers at the beef conference has become a great highlight.
Andy introduces this year's keynote speaker when the American Rancher continues. Stay with us.
After all this time I've spent building up my legacy, I want to be able to pass it on to my grandkids, someone I can trust to grow on the foundation I've built.
Hey, Papa! Look what I can do!
And it sure ain't gonna be him.
No, damn it. Here,
I got him.
Oh, okay. Let us help protect your legacy. Wealth management at A&B. Trust us today and take care of their tomorrows. Oh, you okay, big guy?
Oh, he'll be just fine.
Welcome back to the American Rancher. The 2024 Hemphill County Beef Conference is coming up April 23rd and 24th. The event features world-class experts on ranching profitability and prominent keynote speakers. In the past, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Willie Robertson, and Mike Pompeo have taken the main stage. This time, Andy delivers again.
We started off years ago with John O'Leary, who is a best-selling author who had been burned up. So we had him at the beef conference for a keynote presentation. It was off the charts good. It was so inspiring. So that led to Temple Grandin coming in 2019. Then our next beef conference, we had the former press secretary for Donald J. Trump, our 45th president of the United States, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, as our keynote speaker. It was amazing the people that came to the beef conference. They came to hear Sarah, but while they were there, they heard our other speakers and it changed their lives. We've had former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. We've had Willie Robertson of Duck Dynasty there. And this year in 2024, Kayleigh McEnany, President Trump's second press secretary and now a regular on the 5 from Fox News Channel. She's got an inspirational message. Kayleigh is a cancer survivor. She's a best-selling author, and she's got an incredible, inspiring message about our nation and the direction we're headed as a country. So every year we have a theme for the beef conference. We think about critical things that apply to the issues of the day. I remember presenting to my ag committee those different themes over the years. One time we had, it's all about the future, the wave of the future. Last year in 2023, it was all about the numbers. The theme for the 2024 Beef Cattle Conference is Better Ranching for Better Life. We try to adopt these themes that are important and critical to every speaker, every presentation, and all the things that we're doing. So we want to do better ranching so that we can live better lives. Our families can have a better life. We can live with more prosperity. We can have sustainability. So in February, we had this massive wildfire. It started one morning over in Hutchinson County, and within hours, our community had to be evacuated, 2,500 people. Unfortunately, over about 4 or 5 counties, this fire burned up over 1 million acres. Roberts County, right to our west, and Hemphill were the ones that took it the worst. In my county of Hemphill, thousands of mother cows, we think 6,000 to 8,000, were lost. 72 homes were burned to the ground in town and around out on the ranches. We're going to focus on some of the effects of this fire. We didn't know all this when we planned this conference months ago, that we would be dealing with this monster of a wildfire that almost destroyed our whole community. So the beef conference is more important than it's ever been for us to come together, to serve one another, to help, to lift each other up, to socialize and get our hope back. That's what the beef conference in 2024 is all about. Better ranching for better life.
Last year we came for the first time and absolutely was ecstatic about the education that comes out of this small conference. It's amazing.
You don't see very many conferences in the cow-calf segment of the industry, the ranching segment, that would run 400 to 500 people, and this one does, and it's right up there among the biggest and the best. It's just growing in strength and popularity. You see people from a lot of different states coming in now, and so tremendous credit to all of those who have worked so hard, Andy Holloway and others that have worked so hard to put this conference together.
I want to invite you to the Beef Conference this year. I think it's our best and most important conference that we've ever put together. We've got these great speakers. We've got the best trade show that you've ever seen. And let me tell you this, the best ranchers in the United States will be there. Cow-calf producers, stocker cattle operators, a few feed yard owners. We're going to have a good time. You're going to get a lot of take-home messages from the 2 days, and you're gonna eat like a king. We're gonna have steaks on one day, prime rib, and some of the best Texas barbecue you'll ever enjoy. There's gonna be a lot of things that you are going to really love at this year's Beef Conference. Go to our website, get your tickets. It's gonna be a sellout. We wanna see you in Canadian, April the 23rd and 4th.
Log on or call to learn more about the Hemphill County Beef Cattle Conference and buy tickets to this year's event on April 23rd and 24th in Canadian, Texas. That's all the time we have today. To find out more about us, visit our website, theamericanrancher.com, or connect with us on Facebook or YouTube. I'm Pam Minnick. For our entire American Rancher team, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.